Howdy folks, it is Diecast Buffet here again. Kyle Larson wins the Brickyard 400. Holy cow, the Brickyard is so back. That was a fun race. It was old school as old school gets. We'll be talking about it in today's video. A lot to discuss, some controversy, a lot of fun stuff. And I tell you what, the Kyle Larson Indy race to win car is going to be one popular diecast to get. Like, seriously though, this diecast is going to be possibly the most popular Kyle Larson diecast outside of his championship one. Possibly more popular than that, the Indianapolis race win car. Make sure to put it over there at Circle B Diecast. Use promo code Diecast Buffet and you will save on shipping any orders $30 or more. I'm like 99.9% sure they're going to offer the race to win diecast in both scales at 164 and 124. And it's also a special paint scheme. This is the same paint scheme he ran, or was supposed to run at the Coke 600 that technically Justin Allgaier ran. Yeah, he won an Allgaier's car. I'm kidding. There is so many layers to this story of 2024 Larson with Indy. There's so much to talk about, and we're just going to jump right into it. Larson, he left the double this year pretty much beat down, unfortunately. The Indy race didn't go the way he wanted. He had the penalty. He was running in the top 6 most of the day. He had a lot of speed and a chance at the Indy 500 podium. And rain pushed back the Indy 500. Couldn't even get in the car and turn a lap at Charlotte. The Charlotte race it was a debacle in terms of how they ended it. NASCAR on Fox cut the cord. That PO'd a lot of people. And I feel like this is Kyle Larson's kind of revenge tour. And if he does come back and run the double in 2025, I think he'll just add to it. Goes out there, wins the first Brickyard of the next-gen era. And also wins the first Brickyard since 2020. I'm telling you, man, what a race. What a freaking race. And I'm just going to shoot you straight. I enjoyed it. This was the best Brickyard I have watched in a long, long time. 2017's up there, right? That was a chaotic Brickyard. But this took me back to like 2011, 2012 Brickyard, where you had fuel strategy. You had hard crashes, intense battles throughout the whole field. You had controversy. I mean, the fuel mileage battle at the end of this race, if you were telling me there was no stages in this race, I would have believed you, because the last 50 laps of this race was 2011 all over again. It felt like the 2011 era NASCAR, where you had so many different strategies at the Poconos, the Michigans, Indianapolis. You had so many different drivers saving fuel, different strategies. Oh my goodness, it was organic stock car racing at its best. The first about 60 to 80 laps of the race, it was pretty tame. But that's what you get in these big time races. You got to be there at the end. You don't want to tear up your equipment. We see this almost every time in these big time plate races in the next gen era. It's pretty tame early on. They race hard, but they don't just go crazy and start dumping each other. Unbelievable racing. I was hoping we would get a Brickyard like this, where we would have great racing. We would have some chaos, we'd have some crashes, and we would have some controversy. And I think one thing that, another layer to it, and we'll be talking about why this Brickyard arguably is one of the most important Brickyards ever, is we got the fan favorite to win. That it's huge. The Brickyard 400 apparently is coming back in 2025 already officially. The future on this is kind of up in the air. And that's why I was really, really, really worried when the first 80 laps of this race, not much was happening. Pretty mundane. Pretty single file freight train. But that's part of the magic of these big time races. You got to survive. You got to be there at the end. And sure enough, there's drivers that minded their P's and Q's early on. They didn't go crazy. They didn't crash out. And guess what? They got a good finish. They were there at the end. I love it. I mean, looking how, like, Denny Hamlin looked like he was in the best spot to win this race. And the cautions and the fuel mileage and Larson coming up to the field changed that. Seeing how Tyler Reddick was on the same strategy, just so close to winning the Brickyard, he was the pole sitter. There was a lot of layers to this Brickyard 400. It felt like the old school Brickyards back in the 2000s and the early 2010s, and it was a whole lot of fun. Fantastic race. Some people will say it was kind of boring early on. I disagree. This was so much fun to watch. Trust me, I saw the 2019 Brickyard, the 2020 Brickyard. Slow cars, hardly any passing. They had some crashes here and there, but nowhere near the excitement. These next-gen cars run really good at Indianapolis. Seeing them be able to hit 200 miles per hour entering turn one is just magical. It really is. I love seeing high-speed race cars. And the Xfinity race, I'll touch on that really quickly. It had reduced horsepower. I wish they would jack up the horsepower on that, but it was a fantastic race nonetheless. Crazy final few laps. Riley Herbst, Eric Almirola, and then you had Cole Custer. Classic finish. What a great weekend of racing. IRP, Indianapolis. I really, really am glad the Brickyard 400 was not a snooze fest, in my opinion. Because this is going to be the next layer to this, and why this Brickyard is so important, is if this race does not play out well, it's a snooze fest, nothing happens, freight train racing, there's a really good chance the Brickyard is going to be pulled back off the schedule in the coming years. Really good chance. With this one having a fan favorite win, a lot of crashes, a lot of chaos, the controversy being the pit road, exit road. Do you cross the line to the racetrack? Do you not? That, got a couple drivers. And then you have the second to last restart when Brad Keselowski was the leader, and he ran out of gas, and he came down pit road, which allowed Larson to be able to take the lead, and Blaney was PO'd. The only thing they could have done is just waved off the start, because for a fact they're not going to be lined up like they need to be. It just happens. It just happens. It's like a guy just running out of gas mid-pack, and then 10 cars stack into each other. It happens. So you got that element of discussion and controversy because it gets people talking about it. That's the untold truth about it. But you got everything you needed. You didn't have crazy rain delays. You had the weather. I wish they would have done a better job marketing it, though, because I see more commercials weeks ago. I've seen more commercials for Richmond, which I'm not excited for Richmond, by the way. As far as I'm concerned, there's a 3-week break coming up, not 2 weeks for the Olympics. It's 3 weeks because Richmond, they could just cancel that race as far as I'm concerned. That it's going to put me to sleep. They can talk all day about this option tire. It probably won't make a difference. So I might just have to take a nap during that one. I'm looking forward to the Michigans, the Daytonas, the what is it, Darlingtons, whatever we got coming up. So yeah, that's besides the point. So that means we'll be doing a 2 to 3 week break from doing these post-race reactions for the Olympic break. But this race was one of the most important Brickyards ever, because if it fails, they may never go back here again after 2025. There's a chance. I think this pretty much played out almost as best as they could hope. Do I think there's any improvements? I enjoyed it. That's the thing. I don't really see anything they could have improved except add more horsepower. That's it. You got the organic fuel strategy. You had everything you needed. Hard racing. I loved it. This was old school as old school gets. Some fans, they'll disagree, and I don't want to be that guy. And I respect everyone's opinions on this channel, of course. If you've watched me for years, you know this. But one thing that I have noticed is if everything doesn't happen exactly perfect to someone's liking in a NASCAR race, it's a clown show or a snooze fest. I'm a pretty simple guy when it comes to my NASCAR racing. Give me some good racing, give me some crashes, and get a little bit of drama or controversy. I'm satisfied. I don't need to see the perfect amount of cautions and a perfect amount of lead changes and absolutely no controversy. Look, just give me a good race. I'm simple. And I don't know how people feel about this Brickyard 400 yet. I haven't checked the comments on it. I've just been enjoying the race. I'll check that out after, of course, filming this. But to me, I think it was a success. I hope they do a better job marketing it, because I feel like they could have had much more fans. Just keeping it real. I feel like there was a lot more room for fans. I get it, they have like 300,000 grandstands seats or whatever, but they didn't market it as much as they have marketed Richmond, Daytona 500. It's July, and they're talking about the Daytona 500 in the commercials more. And I get it, the 500 is the big event, but they're going to sell out regardless, the 500 pretty much. I feel like they could have done a better job marketing. That's my only opinion on that. And I don't know. What do y'all think? Make sure to comment down below. I enjoyed it, man. I can't wait for the next Brickyard. These high-speed next-gen tracks are a lot of fun. It just sucks that they're going to be off for 2 weeks, and then they come back to Richmond. Like, you might as well just make it 3 weeks off. Like, how about this? We schedule another race for Pocono. Why not? Let's do it. Let's go back to Pocono. That track was fun. You could tell I really don't like Richmond Raceway anymore. I'm sorry. I just don't. It puts me to sleep. Until they reconfigure that joint, they could get rid of it for all I care. That's all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. Huge congratulations to the 5 team. Kyle Larson winning the Brickyard 400. You got the winner. You got the popular guy. Hopefully this keeps momentum going in, the Brickyard 400's way, and we can keep this on the schedule because I loved it. I enjoyed it. I can't wait for next year's race. And it's really cool. It's really cool to see the 5-car win. Thank you all for watching. Have a blessed one. Make sure to pre-order that Race to Win diecast. I have a feeling when that diecast comes in next year, it's going to sell very quickly. So, I mean, it might... Let's see, it's July. If I had to guess, it's probably going to release January to March. Maybe April. I don't know. Maybe a little faster, maybe a little slower. Get your pre-orders in. That's going to be a super popular car to get. Diecast Buffet, signing off.